What's up, Cagers? Cage is back to bring you the latest in Cage news, discussions, and rants. This time we are taking Gotham Knights to the Cage. What's wrong with it? What can be changed? What can be salvaged? Should it have used the Arkham free flow system? We'll see in the Cage.
Gotham Knights is not bad to the extent of it has an I to meh to why go that route ratio. The game is okay when you try to separate it from its Arkham predecessor, but even when you do that, the game still has bugs and flaws that distract you from the game itself that you can't help but talk about.
Maybe if it had been Spider-Man, then it would have been great, and I would exact my vengeance upon him. I, Eddie Broccoli, will get Spider-Man yet. Also, why wasn't I voiced in the last video? Eddie Broccoli will rain his vegetative vengeance upon you all.
Security. Continue, Valatory.
Anyways, honestly, it's boring. The story is new but plain. The mystery is non-existent for the player. The mini villain stories are awesome and well executed, but the rest is boring. B-O-R-I-N-G, boring. I can't think of another way to describe it without a long, drawn-out video on it. Oops. Okay, so I say the game is boring.
What's so boring about it, bro?
Well, Eddie, I don't know how you got back in here, but let's start with the most important part of any game. The gameplay, of course, but more specifically, the combat, because that's what it's kind of sold on. You see, WB Montreal, despite its history with Batman and making Arkham Origins, doesn't really have any major experience making a game this big from the ground up like this. They have at least at total like 5 games developed to their name, and it reads like this. In 2012, they made Batman Arkham City for the Wii U, so they just ported the game. In 2013, they made Cartoon Universe and Batman Arkham Origins, so that's their first actual big game and a multiplayer game that's discontinued and no one knows about. 2014, Lego Legends of China Online. So they made a Lego game, but everyone's made a Lego game, so it's not like they had any actual work to be done besides retexturing it and making it online accessible. And in 2022, they made what we're talking about now, Gotham Knights. You see the problem? Since 2010, 13 years ago, WB Montreal has only ported a Batman game to the Wii U, made 2 MMORPGs, one that's no longer continued, of varying qualities, and 2 semi-original Batman games with Arkham Origins and Gotham Knights. Like, they're just reusing assets. And it really begs the question, were they really ready to take on this role? Because Gotham Knights is bad. Really bad. Especially for their first original baby. It makes you question what they really learned from all their time being the imitators of others' work, outside the fact they weren't ready. But they sure thought they were, especially with this quote from executive producer Floor Marty. We have entirely redesigned the combat system in order for it to work well in co-op, says Floor Marty, executive producer of Gotham Knights. Of course, we're still a brawler, and some of the mechanics won't feel totally alien for people who played and enjoyed the Arkham series, but it's in many ways very different. They didn't lie in saying it was different. The gameplay is unique to Gotham Knights, unique in how incomplete it is. Everyone has already called it out in better videos, but to reiterate simply, it's gutted Arkham free flow combat. When I say gutted, I mean really gutted too. In Arkham Knight Free Flow, like the name implies, there's smooth transition from enemy to enemy, with button prompts to counter enemies who would interrupt your combo strings, and Batman gadgets to disperse crowds and discombobulate a variety of enemies that would make keeping the flow going a lot more difficult. There's room for improvement and efficiency going through the series, and it feels fun and kinetic knocking down every enemy. In contrast, Gotham Knight's Mud Flow, while initially very snappy at the beginning of the game, begins to bog you down with the introduction of each new enemy type. Big tanky guys require a heavy attack to break guards in order to do any real damage, but to actually do one almost always makes your character pause in their tracks to do it. Like you literally have to stop and then hold the X button because you can't do it naturally because it'll just register as a normal attack. Later in the game, you'll come across enemies that require heavy ranged attacks, and the same problem opens up with your character almost immediately stopping their tracks to perform the move. This isn't a natural pause, and resume to free flow combat. When you stop, you have to sprint towards the enemies you guard broke to start hitting them again, and if you're playing someone slow, like Red Hood, half the time the enemies will recover and enter into this armored attack mode. It happens especially a lot with the Talons. You basically just stop combat for no reward. It'll be fine too if the enemies had more than one way of breaking through defense, but the game can't help but keep ramping itself up. Regular foot soldiers will start to dodge all attacks you make unless it's a specific momentum ability or heavy attack, so you're constantly left stopping and starting to get even one hit in on any given enemy. The Talons are the best example of this problem. They can dodge all forms of attacks except for heavy ranged attacks, and the heavy ranged attack always blasts them across the room because they do a big dramatic flip. So in a big open space, you stop moving, you use the attack. Now you have to start sprinting towards them. You have to click the left stick to start sprinting towards them and get a hit in. If you're playing Red Hood, you're not getting a hit in. You basically have to back them into a corner to continue the assault. And I will say, it is certainly new, and it is a form of challenge, but it's a form of challenge of patience to the player asking the question, how much of this game are you willing to take to see the story? The achievement is you can definitely tell people you're insane because completing this game, especially twice like I did, is the very definition of insanity.
Come on, developers. It doesn't really provide the sort of gameplay that has a replayability factor. To more casual players, this game's fighting mechanics may make for an okay butt mashing fest, but at the same time, it gets too repetitive and boring until a takedown sequence happens. That, at the very least, is different with each character you have. Ranged attacks feel good and unique for each character at first until you realize the very second you overdo the ranged attacks, your enemies insta dodge your ranged attacks. Like, for real, you may argue stop pressing the same range button, but that shouldn't make you predict the future and dodge the bullets like they're trained by Batman. The momentum abilities mix up the combat a bit, with each character, at least, having their own unique abilities. And they do make the game a bit better, but due to gang clusters of enemies, these momentum abilities aren't as effective for crowd control too much. The only character that can handle crowd control is Robin. The game feels stiff most of the time and could have used that Arkham free flow system or make the game have more maneuverability and flow to it.
Okay, so there's the part of the video complaining about why it's not Arkham. Free flow Arkham would have worked wonders for this game because none of the enemies move like you do. They all play on a different game. But how's the rest of it? How is traversing the world? How well does that hold up? Well, surprise, it's also boring, slow, and clunky. Seriously though, the different travel options are interesting and inspired, but only on a very surface level. It practically has no use for travel other than being a different way to traverse rooftops from the grapple hook. They call the specialized movement heroic travel, and you unlock them by completing the in-game challenges assigned to each character. Psst, I got a secret for you. They're all the same challenge. The only difference literally is after you complete the challenge, you'll get a different cutscene of one of the heroes being inspired by Batman's old equipment to make up a new ability to travel. Except Jason. Jason's a wizard, and he gets to jump and have double jump. It's still too slow though, so let's pitch some ideas to see if we can speed up the heroic travel. Let's start with the easiest and the second best character of the game, Batgirl. She uses the classic Batman glide with one-to-one inputs of recreating the glide from the Arkham games as a basic homage. How can we fix this without copy-pasting Arkham games' grapple boost? Simple. We'll give her a different type of rocket boost. Bat pack, if you will. Cute laugh track. It can be a reverse version of Pharah's jump booster from Overwatch, kicking off a ledge and flying straight up, giving her more altitude to work with so she can glide better across the city. Look at that, see? An easy fix. Moving on, how do we fix Robin? The best character built for this game, I might add. His heroic travel is to use the Justice League's Watchtower's teleporter as a short-range instant transmission to get rooftop to rooftop. The problem with it is how slow it is. Every time you use it, Robin disappears with all sound from Gotham as you slide a destination cursor along the city till their timer runs out. Easy implementation and use, but the timer is only around 7 seconds, and using it on repeat has you constantly popping in and out of the game and just turns you into an actual camera. Except there's no sound and there's nothing going on. There's nothing visually engaging you. So, what's the easy fix to this teleport system? To me, I think the easiest solution is to build it on something similar to the Dishonor system of teleporting, where you create a marker in the distance for you to teleport to. It can be an outline of Robin or like the Robin symbol itself. Either way, it's easier. You can slow down time with it, so that way you can have time to readjust yourself. And then if you want to really make it work, you can let it have a snap-on option to rooftops. So instead of using your grapple hook like normal, you teleport instant, doesn't take long, and you can go from rooftop to rooftop, teleport, teleport, teleport. And if you want to keep its original utility with allowing you to be able to teleport above people's heads, just use the same marker system. Let it build over someone's head, teleport down, and you can do a takedown. Boom. Now both Batgirl and Robin are fixed, and they get to keep the same heroic travel. Easy, right? But what about the other two? What can we do for Nightwing and Red Hood? Brave and the Bold can definitely highlight what he thinks can be done. Brave?
When they initially introduced the gameplay for the way these two traverse the city, it was very weird and very odd. Like, why the heck is Nightwing using a bat glider just to get to places faster? What happened to the Batman grapnel boost that they literally could have borrowed from the Arkham Knight game and make it a thing for this game? Like, why is Red Hood jumping on air? Oh my god. This man has powers now? Let's separately talk about these two for a second. Nightwing's mode of transportation, besides the heroic travel and the slowly but surely get you there bat cycle, is the Night Glider. It's the freaking Bat Glider. I don't care what you calling it, Valator. We're not giving him anything. This is an unlockable through the night challenges, and when Dick gets near Batman's suit, he gains an homage or idea from him. Mainly how to travel the city with ease, and with his Night Glider, he can navigate anywhere around the city and do takedowns while hovering over nearby enemies. It's cool at first, but when you really go through the movement mechanics, it's annoying. I don't know about anyone else, but whenever I miss enemies after hovering near their position for that split second, I get mad at every time I have to turn around and really messing with the screen to get back to the position I was in. I don't feel true anger and hatred for it, but I get freaking annoyed. The thing I feel they can fix with this is just having him have wings. For example, Batman the Animated Series showcased these said wings, and it could have been showcased in this game. Like, for real. And made in the Arkham style of traveling the city by gliding and adding that grapnel boost would have really kicked it off. Red Hood travels the city point to point by Batcycle and heroic travel, of course. But did you know that the Lazarus juice can give you mystical abilities? What? Well, in Gotham Knights, their version of Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul have mystical abilities they channel through having been dipped in the Lazarus pit so many times. This sounds cool because think of the possibilities you could do Red Hood's power set, but this intrigue is short lived. As we go into it further, we decipher Jason's traversal ability, which is the mystical leap. He has this traversal ability to leap from one building to the next.
Hey guys, that was part 1 to our video of trying to fix Gotham Knights. There's going to be a part 2 or 3 coming out in the next couple of weeks, and we hope you come by and take a look. See you later, Cagers. Thanks for anyone who supports us. Thank you for coming to take a look at our channel, even if it's only for a few minutes. Leave back any comments, anything talking about the game, That's really it. I didn't script this part. Alright, see ya.